Hey dividend investors, today I am going to talk to you about the BMO International Dividend ETF, also known as ZDI. Now, this is an interesting dividend ETF because, of course, many dividend ETFs will have very interesting stocks, I should say. Some will be at the very high level of dividends and some will be at the very low level. Meanwhile, this one has all high level, international, no matter what country you're in, it probably has at least a company from your country. So let's get down and let's see what this ETF is all about. So at the time of recording this video, it is worth $19.70 per share. And of course, that is the ticker that you can type into your trading platform. As of right now, it averages around 15,000 shares traded per day, which if you're trading in the 500 to 1,000 share range, you should have zero issues getting into it and zero issues getting out of it. If you're looking to day trade it, which you generally wouldn't do anyways for an ETF, you may be looking at some issues. Its yield is actually quite high at 4.8% as of the time of recording this video. And its monthly expense is not terrible at 0.4. It is kind of high for an ETF, but when you're talking about an ETF that has almost a 5% dividend, I'll take that. It's okay. So the couple of things that do come from this ETF is the fact that it was not doing great before this coronavirus issues that the world has had. Now, when it comes to dividend paying stocks, usually these are very stable companies. And when you really look at it, this is not a massive time frame. We're only looking at 2016, 17, 18, 19, 2020, and now 2021. Now, will this downturn continue? Well, let's look at the actual stocks and see what these are about. Now, really quickly, when we do want to look at these stocks, we're not going to be just looking at Canadian and American companies. A lot of these companies are going to be from Europe as well, and Europe really hasn't had a great time recently anyways. So that is why this ETF really hasn't done much over the period of time of about 4 or 5 years. Novartis, Nestle, both very good companies. Unilever is a very solid company as well. However, even though we may be looking at Alliance or BHP Corp, all of these stocks are pretty well even when you really think about it. Its top 10 holdings are only worth a quarter of all assets, and roughly each stock takes up about 2.5% of the total portfolio. So even if this company right here, or let's say Roche Holdings, was to have a bad time, it's not going to affect the overall ETF all that much anyways. One thing that I do like to look at is their historic dividend pays. And when it comes to their historic dividend pays, we see that back in 2019, they were paying about 9 cents per share every month. And then what it happened was during the coronavirus pandemic, every single month started lowering the dividends. Some companies started paying less dividends. We have to remember this. The coronavirus pandemic did hit quite hard for quite a few companies. And I'm not surprised the fact that it's been lowered, the dividend, from 9 cents a share down to 7 cents per share. However, I would assume by getting in now, there's going to be a nice recovery, hopefully. And if there's a nice recovery, what's going to happen is this dividend will hopefully go up. Now, overall, what are my thoughts on this ETF? If you're looking for an ETF that gives you global exposure to dividend-paying stocks, you're looking at a good ETF. It is quite high when it comes to the MER. There are a few other international dividend ETFs that are a bit lower in that 0.3% category, 0.2%. I've even seen one, I think it was from iShares, that was around 0.15, but I would have to double check that. I'm only reviewing this ETF today, but when you're looking at 4.8% with the potential of growth, especially with companies like Nestle that sell bottled water, which is huge, who sell a lot of different things that we all use, you're starting to look at an ETF that has great potential for the future with a high dividend yield. Anyways, I hope that this video has helped you with your portfolio. If it has, hit that like button and subscribe. I personally do not hold any of the top 10 holdings in this ETF or this ETF itself. I just wanted to review it. I know there has been a few commenting about this one, so I thought I would give my thoughts on it. And I'll talk to you or see you in my next video.